Welcome to rSlash Am I the Devil, where OP is an adult man married to a cop and he starts sleeping with a 15-year-old girl. Our next Reddit post comes from rSlash Off My Chest. I do not want to face the consequences. I'm a 41-year-old man married to a 35-year-old woman. We have 3 kids, a 19-year-old girl, a 15-year-old boy, and a 13-year-old boy. My wife and I have been happily married since we were 18 and 24. Our relationship is fantastic in absolutely every way, including the bedroom. However, 3 years ago, my daughter's best friend, now 18, spent almost all of lockdown in our home, attending school virtually alongside my daughter. My wife is a police officer and clearly wasn't able to work remotely due to her job. Her schedules change weekly, spending 2/3 of her time on the night shift. So she was regularly not home between the hours of 8:30 p.m. and 9:30 a.m. 4 days a week. Roughly 3 weeks into lockdown, my daughter's best friend, Mary, who was 15 at the time, accidentally walked in on me as I was getting out of the shower, and instead of leaving said, "Wow," and kissed me. We started having an affair. After this first time in our bedroom, Jess would wait until after my daughter and other children had gone to bed before coming into my bedroom and getting into my bed. Knowing my daughter's schedule, we would set an alarm for 1 hour earlier and go back to sleep in our guest room so that no one could find out. After lockdown ended, Jess started to almost exclusively come over when my wife was out working nights, save for 2 to 3 times a month to show face in front of my wife. We've since developed a full-fledged relationship. She's now 18, and no one outside of herself knows about this. However, I do not love this girl, and I'm terrified of ruining my marriage if this gets out. As I've said, my wife is my absolute best friend, and I love her more than anything in the world. Our relationship is phenomenal, in and out of the bedroom, and she's been talking for the past 6 months about how she thinks that she may be bisexual, and she would like to find a woman to bring home for a threesome. Part of me thinks that this would be the perfect scenario, and Jess is down for it. However, I don't know how my wife would respond to bringing our daughter's best friend into our love life, even at 18. Jess has sworn that she wouldn't say anything to anyone, even my wife, if we were to do this. I know that everything I've done is horribly wrong, but this is where I find myself today. Would I be absolutely crazy to pitch the idea of Jess to my wife? Because they're quite close, and my wife often sees us goofing off when Mary is out of the house or asleep. I'm just looking for the best path forward that doesn't hurt anyone and doesn't destroy the marriage. Oh geez, I checked OP's comments, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's made 6 comments to this post, and every single comment is him just defending the age of consent. He's saying, "I didn't violate any laws. The age of consent here is 14. And also, in case you missed the math, he knocked up his wife at the age of 16, and now he's sleeping with a 15-year-old. So I'm starting to notice a bit of a pattern here. Am I the butthole for secretly eating takeout food that my pregnant wife can't eat because she has gestational diabetes? I'm a 35-year-old man and my wife is 34. We've been married for 10 years, together for 15. She's 7 months pregnant and has gestational diabetes, which has been very hard on her, and by extension, very hard on me too in our relationship. Her doctor recommends that she follows a strict diet, and that means no sugar or high-calorie food such as Alfredo sauce, pizza, or the likes. Naturally, she's been very, very upset because she has cravings, but there's no way that she can indulge. She's gotten sick of the alternatives suggested to her, and she would sometimes start sobbing when we go outside because she'll see all these food places only to realize that she can't eat what she wants. I feel for her, I really do. Our relationship started to break down a little when she started taking her anger out on me. My offense? Ordering things that I like to eat, such as cookies, cheese, and frozen snacks. We get groceries delivered to us, by the way. You know, food that any person likes to eat. She was extremely mad at me for me eating these foods, and she made me feel guilty for eating stuff that she craves. My breaking point was one time she angry cried over the fact that I brought home a box of donuts that I received from the office on my birthday. I was sick of her behavior and the constant policing of my food intake in our home, such that I made it clear in no uncertain terms that she cannot punish me for a health problem that she has. And that this is my house too, and I'll eat and drink whatever, whenever I please. We had a bad argument that day, and I uttered the word divorce. That seemed to shake us both, and we did a few sessions of marital counseling. To keep it short, our therapist held my wife accountable and shared that it was unfair on me to be at the receiving end of her emotional distress. However, the therapist also emphasized that my wife is probably feeling unsupported too, and I could try to be a bit more discreet and stick to making healthier meals together, which would be great for both of us. This is because my wife can't make up for the excess blood sugar that she has by working out a lot. She's chubby and she has bad knees, so I can see why she feels helpless. As a solution, we decided to stock up on the forbidden foods in the second fridge that we have in the drawing room of our home that we used to store drinks and guest snacks for. It's better when all the stuff she craves but can't eat aren't in the common fridge. This also means that I can almost never order takeout at home, and sometimes I miss doing that while watching Netflix. I still miss having the occasional pasta dish at the Cheesecake Factory or McDonald's, so sometimes when I drive home from work, I eat in my car, keeping the therapist's reminder triggers in mind. Because I know that if my wife knew that I ate that stuff, it would just make her mad. Yesterday, though, I took my wife on a long drive and she found a receipt of the Cheesecake Factory on the floor. The moment she found it, she started sobbing and wouldn't talk to me. She's now pissed at me and feels like I betrayed her. I think that she's overreacting, and I don't think that I'm wrong, since 80% of the meals that I have in a week are with her. I try to have takeouts with her on Fridays mostly. Then OP adds in an edit. I still have resentment against her for ruining my birthday. Basically, the gift I got from my wife that day was her yelling at me and me uttering divorce and the night ending in tears. I still hate her for it, for creating a bad memory that I likely won't be able to erase, but I'm working on it. I feel the same way too when I read what I wrote. I don't want to hate her, but I do. I still cry thinking about how we fought over something seemingly innocent, and I feel so wrong that no one sees that this was unfair and borderline abusive for me. To be at the receiving end of this as a spouse because I happen to be a husband in this dynamic. OP, you are the butthole, but not really for the reasons. The problem isn't that you eat Cheesecake Factory. The problem is that you hate your wife. It's very clear from the way that you write that you just don't really like your wife at all. So I think the reason why she's crying is because you're just not supporting her and being a jerk. Am I the butthole for removing my daughters from my health insurance plan? I'm a 57-year-old man, and I have two daughters, Jane, who's 23, and Lucy, who's 20. 10 years ago, while I was married to their mother, Amy, who's 55, I began an affair with Sarah, who's 38. I ended up moving to a different state to live with Sarah, divorced Amy, and married Sarah a year later. I was just very unhappy in my marriage with Amy. She is a very mentally ill woman, and I just couldn't continue the life that I had with her. I didn't fight for custody because I felt that would further hurt Jane and Lucy. I paid child support and I saw them once a year per our visitation agreement until they turned 18. Over the past few years, Sarah and I have really tried to reconnect and build relationships with Jane and Lucy. I've apologized for my mistakes, and I do everything I can to be involved in their lives. However, neither Jane nor Lucy are interested in a relationship with us. Their reasons being that I destroyed their mother's life and they'll never forgive me for missing their childhoods. I understand their pain, but I can't change the past, and considering it's been 10 years since the divorce and the girls are adults now, I'm of the opinion that they need to make an effort to see my perspective and work towards forgiveness. The current situation at hand is where I might be the butthole. Jane and Lucy are both under my health insurance because their mother doesn't work. I have really good insurance through my job and we're in the US, so Jane and Lucy are technically eligible for coverage under my plan until they're 26. However, when it was time for me to re-enroll for the upcoming year, I decided to remove the girls from my plan. I find it a bit ridiculous that even though Jane and Lucy are unwilling to even attempt to have any kind of relationship with me, they have no problem benefiting from my health insurance policy that I work extremely hard for. Sarah and I notified the girls of my decision over an email, and even offered to help them find policies of their own. I know that Jane has a good job that would most likely offer an insurance package, and Lucy is in college, so she could probably enroll under the university's insurance. Or the girls could convince their mom to finally get a job so that she can cover them. Jane responded to my email, saying that my decision is cruel and that I've now destroyed any chance of having a relationship with either of them. It's been several months since I removed the girls as beneficiaries, and I sometimes question my decision. The girls have blocked me from their social media accounts, which has been hard for me, as it was the only way for me to be involved in their lives. I still think that I made the right choice by standing my ground, but also wonder whether or not, am I the butthole? Alright, my absolute favorite thing about this post is this sentence. The current situation at hand is where I might be the butthole, and then he goes on to explain the insurance thing. So, to be clear, he thinks the only part of this story is where he might be the butthole is the insurance. Not, cheating on his wife, abandoning his daughters, seeing them only once a year, moving to another state with your affair partner mistress. I mean, yeah, the insurance thing also sucks. Like, think about it. Why cancel their insurance and then tell them about it afterwards? If you love them, if you care for them, then help them find their own insurance and then cancel them. That happened to me, man. I'll be super quick because I've told this story before, but in my previous job before I became a YouTuber, I got fired on the very last day of the month. And the health insurance that I got through my company was on a month-to-month basis, so as soon as the new month started, I lost my insurance. So I got fired one day and lost my health insurance the next day. Also, this one took me a second. I didn't realize it until I saw it in the comments. Anyone else realize that he thinks that his wife is mentally ill, and so for that reason, I can't be around her anymore. But apparently, her mental illness isn't that big of a deal because he lets his daughters stay with her. You don't think that's a problem, leaving your daughters with an allegedly mentally ill woman? My guess is the woman's not actually mentally ill. He's just trying to trash on the woman and make himself look better because OP is a douchebag. Our next Reddit post comes from rSlash drew off my chest. I regret cheating on my wife, and I can't get the image of her face out of my head. My wife, who's 42, caught her 30-year-old sister and me last Christmas in her dad's tool shed, and the look on her face still haunts me. It wakes me up in the middle of the night with chest pain, and I can't go back to sleep afterwards. She didn't seem surprised. She wasn't angry, she didn't yell or cry, nothing. I ran after her, and all she said was that she expected this from her sister, but never from me. We have 3 children together, 4, 5, and 11. I love my wife. I don't know if she loves me though. Since that day, she's never looked me straight in my face. She's never talked to me about anything other than family matters concerning the children, and even though she keeps a happy face around the kids and family and friends, and nobody has suspected anything different about us, I know that it's different, and I know that she's just putting up a front. I miss her old, bubbly, cheerful self. When we're alone and she can finally be herself, she's silent and distant. I miss being irritated that she would never shut up when we were watching TV, commenting about everything about the show and trying to beat the detectives to finding out who the killer is. Now, we just sit in silence at each end of the sofa without a glance toward each other, and even though we share the same bed, it feels like she's miles away. The change came a month ago, like she finally started living again. I see that she's starting to put on weight again, and I catch her smiling to herself. I don't know what changed. I don't know if she's finally forgiving me, or, as I suspect, she's seeing someone else. I can't confront her because then everything is lost. I love this top comment. Science is my God says, OP says in the comments, she won't leave me. I know because of the counseling sessions. Oh boy, you're gonna learn fast. Yep, OP's about to get dumped. Our next Reddit post comes from r/relationship advice. I'm a 23-year-old man, and my high school sweetheart, who's 24, is leaving me. How can I convince her to try counseling? I love my wife so much. I've been with her since my junior year and her senior year of high school. I wasn't very attractive in high school, but I had a late growth spurt, and on top of that, I started hitting the gym. This gave me access to women who were extremely attractive, women who previously didn't pay me any mind. This led to me getting a hall pass from my wife, and eventually me needing to open the relationship. My wife was against it, but I knew that I owed it to myself. It was going to be temporary until I got everything out of my system. 2 years passed, and I thought that everything was going well and I was having a blast. I thought our relationship was great, and then she serves me with divorce papers. I haven't signed them. She said the 2 years since we opened our relationship have been the most difficult in her life. Now, she didn't tell me this or communicate this with me. She says that she doesn't feel valued. I told her that if I didn't value her, I would have divorced her. I offered to close the relationship and we could get therapy, but she said that she's over it. She loves me, but she can't do this anymore. She's staying with her friend and her friend's boyfriend, and I'm just at a loss. Wow, that's a new one. I love my wife, but I owed it to myself to go dick down other women. Okay, if you say so, buddy. That was rSlash and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.